Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
Hey everyone. First, second. The person who's fourth says third. The Penguin-y songs. Glad you guys like it. I think it's a pretty cool song. It's a go. Okay, I had a whole bunch of submitters for for replays. Why is it a censored tank? Yes, it did. To prevent spoilers. Oh. Yeah, Arya. No, I don't know. It did finish. There are so many possible interpretations. It could be the Medi tank. Okay. Oh, the anti-tank. True. The Meow tank. It just finished this morning. So I'm surprised this replay is actually here. It's like a Neo tank, but with cat girls. I don't. Like as drivers, is it like a girls in Panzer kind of deal? Girls and Panzer is a very fun show. Or I guess it's an anime. It's a very fun anime. The seal tank, no. Don't say it's so. What is the name of this map? I think I would know. I just finished playing a game on it. This is Money Jungle. Well, it's very fitting that I picked Sasha on Money Jungle. You just got a notification that I'm live? It's a little delayed, huh? They're very weird. Oh, you've been watching Girls in Panzer. Very nice. My favorite line, at least from when I've watched the anime, I don't think I've seen it all, but was Operation Sneaky Sneaks was my favorite line. Although I watched the dub, so I have no idea what that might sound like in a non-dub situation there. Format? Version? Operation Sneaky Sneaks. Yes, the name of this map is Money Jungle. And as people may remember, my previous High Funds game, I went for a recon rush. Or like lots of recon harassment. And Innova was teaching me about the meta for High Funds. And said that it's actually not about the recon rush kind of thing. It's a mega tank rush. So Innova is a top player, or at least a top rated player. So I trusted them implicitly, and I went for a mega tank rush for this game, as it is apparently the High Funds meta according to Innova. And that's why I picked Sasha, because I figured I'd need as much money as possible so that I can build infantry alongside my mega tanks. And it kind of worked out nicely, because Sasha's got a pretty decent matchup against Kindle. This is mega tank country. Exactly, that's what Innova said. So the nice thing about fighting Kindle as Sasha is that if I can ever get the combat away from the properties, I'll usually just be advantaged. Because there's no way Kindle's going to get the super very easily against me. And I'll often have my +10/+10 stats to fight on non-properties and just be advantaged. The only real counter to mega tanks are mega tanks. There's tactics. Mega tanks also fall to tactics. But yeah, when it comes to unit, like a one-on-one unit fight, a mega tank is the only counter to a mega tank. They fight like copters fight. I'm not hiding my BM behind Innova. I was trusting the advice of a top-level player. Actually, we'll find out how good Innova is soon, because just change all of these guys to Grim. As you can see, I have now been matched against Innova. This isn't standard though, so I don't know if I'll be doing the mega tank rush in standard. I'm also against AryaFireheart, who is now is right there in the chat, and I'm against Starflash. This will be quite the games here. Obviously, I'm going Grim in all of them: Tier 1, Tier 3, and Tier 4. Should be good. Grim got confirmed. Actually, ready up in the Arya game. The backlog has been growing, so I might try and get through some replays faster. In fact, I should probably start this one. There's a mega tank rush strategy. That's what Innova was telling me. In High Funds, it's like the standard. It's just like what you do. It's mega tank country. We're about to find out. Okay. So yes, this is Money Jungle, the map. It's apparently often a Rachel versus Javier kind of deal, if I remember correctly from what people were saying in the chat when I first started that. But they did not expect the Sasha pick. I specifically chose Sasha for that extra 100 income per property in High Funds to help with the Mega Tank rush. Because, spoiler alert, Mega Tanks are pretty costly. And my opponent chose Kindle, who tends to be a very aggressive CO. Tries to like bully you off of properties and get some really nice kills off of the plus 40% attack. when they're on urban terrain, and then also their powers boosting up that plus 40% as well. For those that don't know, Urban Blight not only damages all of the opponent's units on property or on urban terrain by 3, it also doubles the passive of Kindle, giving plus 80% while on urban terrain. Because for three bars, why not have it do 2 things? I don't know. Similar to the super. Her super not only gives her a boost to her firepower for every property she has, but then triples her passive, because why not have it do 2 things? I don't know. I don't know why they balanced Kindle like that. But yeah, Sasha's day-to-day is just 100 extra income per income generating property. That does not get doubled in high funds, so she doesn't scale as well. That explains why you keep losing when you park near cities against Kindle's normal power. Exactly, yeah. Sasha's normal power drains your opponent's charge bar based on the amount of funds you have and based on the total capacity of the opponent's charge bar. I'd have to look it up. I know it scales off the amount of money that Sasha has. So in high funds, you're often going to have enough money to just drain the opponent's entire charge bar. I don't think Sasha's tier 5, because you can very easily set up situations where your opponent is always starting with an empty bar. We'll see how it goes. So my plan here is to go for a very fast mega tank, and that means that I cannot afford to go for forward captures. Otherwise, my opponent can just attack me for free. So I'm going to go for this really long backwards chain to give myself more time to repair to actually protect these captures. You can see Nawasty is going for the forward capture first. Probably because they don't have to... they've got other plans, weaker plans that don't involve going for the mega tank first, so they can afford to actually contest the middle. And they're also Kindle, so that they also have a very good advantage when it comes to just defending their own properties anyway. Mega tank hype. She is a lot like Von Bolt without the super. And how she ends up fighting, kind of. Because you usually don't have your power boost on your turn. You can see that we have the tank first from Nawasty, while I'm still a little ways away. Well, a turn away from my mega tank, which isn't too bad. But you can see I couldn't go for any of these forward captures, so I'm going back here to take a back route to this airport, and this will also alleviate some infantry requirements for my 1 base. Now it doesn't have to send someone down here. The 2 base will do it instead, and that just means I'll be very delayed in this entire area. But even if I built a mega tank, I can't actually protect this capture. Like, the infantry goes over here and starts capturing it, and the mega tank only has a move of 4. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and if the tank hits from here, I'm just out of luck. You can see I'm getting close to the mega tank. And money, I can get one next turn. So day 5 mega tank. Pretty fast, actually. I mean, I just finished capturing the 2nd base, and there we go. We have a mega tank. It's not every day you see a day 5 mega tank. The pressure is now on. If this tank ever gets in range of me, I can one-shot it. Okay. Now these infantry start moving out. On this side, I decided to be more aggressive with my infantry, because I saw the tank get built over here, and it looked like just infantry are getting built on this side. But then Nawasty sees my mega tank plan, and builds one of their own, and I just can't let that stand. Tank versus Mega Tank. I can't be out Mega Tanked in my own Mega Tank rush. Especially because a Kindle Mega Tank can zone my Mega Tank around cities all day long. So the plan is to get another Mega Tank next turn, and in anticipation of this, I get an APC, because if I have 2 Mega Tanks and they actually end up doing something, they'll run out of ammo pretty quickly. But because my opponent now has this Mega Tank to face down my Mega Tank, the vehicle buys on this 2-base side have been delayed, which is very good for me. It means I actually get some of these forward properties on my 1-base side. But no longer. We're not going to see a double Mega Tank coming out of Nawasty. We have tank and artillery follow-up. I wasn't too scared about this artillery because Mega Tanks are naturally resilient against artillery. So I found this was the perfect time to go for the double Mega Tank, which, much like with copters, will be able to beat a single Mega Tank. And then I attack over here because there's no vehicles. There's actually nothing covering this infantry, so I'll just go for this nice interrupt. Bring my APC over here to pick up this infantry and bring it over to the middle. We have my own non-Mega Tank built to help defend against this guy and this guy. Note the immediate psychological damage to Nawasty, exactly. Nawasty did not tell me to Mega Tank rush. That was the Nova. Nawasty was in the Discord chat at the time, though, so did know a Mega Tank rush was coming. Okay, so this is a misplay by Nawasty. Oh, from my base. But also, this is a tank coming from the 1-base side over to the 2-base side in the possible harassment. Is it cursed again? Say it ain't so. It's not saying I'm dropping frames. Oh, it says stream is disconnected, attempting to reconnect a few seconds ago. Seems okay. Your stream quality is good. I can't trust that thing. Okay, we live in. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with the internet as of late. But okay, it's back. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna get trapped. It's gonna get smacked, and that will leave me to just 2 Mega Tanks against Mega Tank and artillery, which is really good for me. And Nawasty starts putting on the pressure to my 1-base side. I go straight for this airport. Since I'm Sasha, it looks like Nawasty actually took the same capture path as me. I would usually recommend that you'd use your 1-base side, like go for this capture and then go for this airport. The only reason I went this route was because I can't really afford to push out. There we go. I'm going to trap this tank in here and build a Neo tank. Sadly, I didn't have the funds to get a Mega Tank while still doing everything I want to do. So we have a Neo Tank on this side, Mega Tanks on this side, and I would love to interrupt this capture, but I will get absolutely stomped by a Kindle first strike from a city. So instead we'll just block off over here and start moving over to the middle and threaten the front switch. Keep my Mega Tanks together, so if they're chained together, Nawasty's 1 Mega Tank won't really be able to touch me. Like, right here it can attack me if it wants to, but I can kill it off in response. Not responding with a 3rd Mega Tank, I know. I know. So you can see Nawasty's getting a pretty decent income lead over me. Because these the forward captures over here are happening a lot sooner than mine. But that's okay. I'm Sasha, so I had some extra income to back me up, especially in the early phases. We can see here I'm actually really far ahead in unit value currently with my double mega tank. And the fact that this tank is getting beat up by tank. And you might be wondering, why am I going for this repair when it's possible for Nawasty to get an Urban Blight and injure this? If, I guess you'd have to like attack with this Neo tank. But yeah, I'm expecting Nawasty to get one Urban Blight off against me and then never get a power ever again, as I'll be able to just continually keep my Sasha normal power going once this gets sufficiently charged. Okay, so you can see the threat of the mega tanks going into the center. I'm guarding this capture. I'm making sure that I could potentially be coming over here to take out the Neo tanks of Nawasty. I'm also protecting my own Neo tank for my Neo tank first strike. And I'm also threatening this one uncaptured, now currently being captured city. Nawasty now has 2 mega tanks to match my 2 mega tanks, but the difference is that these 2 mega tanks are not connected. They're not chained together. They're not covering each other. So they're not going to be effective as a combined combat force against my 2 mega tanks, so that can just win the 2v1 even when allowing a first strike, which is kind of what the game plan is. I can move aggressively with my mega tanks into Nawasty's mega tank range, and I'll still win the fight even if the first strike happens, provided the first strike doesn't happen from a city. Okay, so I can attack in here, no fear. There is a mega tank, there's Neo tank coverage, but I have double mega tank over here, so I have no fear, and I'll just kind of get in the way, or I'll just disconnect the Neo tanks and the mega tanks. And then over here I can attack because it's just a mega tank trying to defend all this, and my mega tank is covering all of the attack paths that this mega tank could take against these infantry. And then I'm also attacking into artillery range, but I have this tank set up to hit the artillery if it stays here. So even though it could shoot this 9 health infantry on the mountain, because I've injured its one blocker, it can't really afford to stick around. Otherwise, I just kill off its blocker with one of these other infantry, and the tank comes in and smacks the artillery. And here I'm just going to be really annoying. I could preserve this 1 health infantry, but I think if Nawasty forces me to send both of my mega tanks over here to the right, then perhaps this Neo tank could come in and do some serious damage. So I'll just block its path. This also means that if this infantry could be used to kill off my 1 health infantry, but then it's not threatening to take my comm tower, which I'm a little bit concerned about. So yeah, I go straight for the bomber, deal with these Neo tanks. I'm very concerned about this city, so I have 2 infantry in range of it with Neo tank backup. Okay. The Neo tank has the mega tank has the really slow deployment through the forests, much like what mine had to go through. So yeah, the artillery decides to stay here and take this shot, which is not going to end well for said artillery. The tank decides to clear this out, and then the Neo tank comes in, kills off this tank, which is so gutsy, and pretty much only something you can get away with if this mega tank gets engaged with my mega tanks. So there we go. Now, big hit, Urban Blight's possible. You can see how much charge I got to. And now this mega tank is overloaded. It can either go finish off this mega tank or it can kill off this Neo tank. And here comes the Urban Blight, which will hit my bomber. Rather rude. Okay. So I'm not too concerned about this Neo tank. It killed off a tank. It is what it is. My main goal is to kill off this mega tank, and then these ones are going to be pretty much uncontested in this area, as well as to take out this artillery. So I'll market crash here, make sure to get rid of all of the residual funds that Kindle has, and I have enough charge that I can pretty easily get my normal power again next turn if I want to. I'll just take the plus 10 stat boost. So my Neo tank up here, overkill, and because I drained so many funds, I feel safe standing on the city. I'm gonna bring this bomber over here, just in case there's plans of using this Neo tank from the comm tower. And then I grab a fighter to deal with the bomber of Nawasty's own. And I'll bring this Neo tank on over to protect the anti-air and also get involved in this lovely fight as I then back away where I just sent units away from. I want to back away from there. The Neo tank is still covering this general area, so if the tank tries to attack something, it can still come back. Especially with this one. This is a double covered tile. So even though the units look like they're pretty far away, they still have pretty decent coverage. And I want the artillery here because Nawasty could always interrupt their own capture and go for my comm tower, and that would be pretty bad. My opponent knew the meta. Okay, so here comes the Neo tank. Kills off the infantry, hits my artillery. But this is a double covered tile by both Neo tanks, so a pretty risky attack there. And they come in for this double swing with infantry, but I have the Sasha power up. There's no chance of that dying. It would have to take the anti-air involvement. Captures right in front of my Neo tank, which is... I like that play a lot. Because my Neo tank is clearly going to go attack this one. So it can... So Nawasty can definitely get away with this kind of very aggressive capture. And then Nawasty brings the Mega Tank up to help cover this Neo Tank and this tank from my own Neo Tank strikes. And then brings a buddy back. Recognizes that there's about to be a big old fight over here due to this attack, and that my own pressure over here is going to be really hard to answer. And then this bomber actually came over here and broke this pipe seam, so now this airport's going to have a faster deployment time to the center. So I'm going to use the bomber. This is not a 100% chance to kill, but with the 9 health infantry it would kill. And I do that to get rid of the tank so I can get my first strike and then follow up with this hit here. And then I'm just going to try and clean up as many infantry on the one base side here as possible. Like so. Again, no fear of Urban Blight at this point because I have enough charge to make sure that there'll never be another Urban Blight, assuming I manage to control the engagements sufficiently. And here I'm just going to block with my fighter because there's no anti-air capabilities over here, and this is going to stop the Mega Tank from being able to reach my Neo Tank. And then I'm not a huge fan of... Whew, there goes all of the charge. Doesn't get the kill. I'm not a huge fan of where I decided to put this artillery. I think it would have been a lot better right here. The one advantage it has to be here is that it does cover a comm tower capture. But if it's here, it covers all of the spots that Nawasty could have hit my Neo Tanks from. I was very sad that I didn't get the chip damage there. And then there's also the mistake. I should really attack from here rather than here. There's no benefit to attacking from here. It just leaves me vulnerable to getting hit by these infantry. That was just a little bit of a misplay. Okay. I lost my first game against Hevel because I did that. So I don't like this move. Because this is a very well-guarded mega tank. There's this fighter over here and an anti-air right here. And you can see bombers do okay damage. But the idea might have been that Nawasty thought an Urban Blight would be possible. In which case, like, Bomber plus Urban Blight hit would be a pretty big deal. Falls really far back with this Mega Tank, which I think is a mistake. You don't need to fall so far back. You can Mega Tanks are really buff, so you can be very aggressive with their positioning, and then falls really far back with this Neo Tank, which makes more sense to me because the Bomber's a very big threat against this Neo Tank. Okay, we have another bomber, and then some anti-airs to try and deal with my bomber and fighter. Okay, and I'll start getting these captures and get very happy and ahead in the income. And in comes the fighter to take out the bomber. And then there's a choice here. I could attack with the bomber first or the anti-air first. I decided to hit with the anti-air first because it's really annoying for Nawasty if I have a 9 health bomber that with power is able to one-shot tanks and other such blockers, where if it hits the anti-air first, they'll get knocked down to 8. Maybe even 7. So I decided to just preserve the health on the bomber, even though that does leave my anti-air a little bit more exposed to getting picked off, especially by an opposing bomber. But I still have this fighter here, so as long as I can take out this anti-air, on the right-hand side, the fighter will be uncontested, like so, and that's going to put this bomber in a really awkward position. And now I can market crash after all that, and Nawasty loses pretty much all of the charge. And I can save my city and make a kind of a flank, a Neo Tank flank over here. And build another bomber. So Nawasty can kill this Mega Tank, but it kind of takes everything to do so. Well, it takes bomber plus Neo Tank to do so. And then the Mega Tank and the medium tank can just hit a normal tank, and then my remaining vehicles can go after this infantry. The fighter can kill off the bomber, and then I can bring up a 8 health Mega Tank to go to this property to heal, and then also put pressure by capturing a whole bunch of different cities over here. But then Nawasty decides to resign there, which I think is fine. The unit count is really poor for Nawasty. And at this point, I'm kind of just bullying the Air Force, and I'm threatening to take the comm tower and a bunch of these other captures. GG. Oh, you were thinking about hitting this bomber? Well, I can hit that bomber, but I have to put units in kind of a danger range. And I also do get tagged by the anti-air, but yeah, I have to dive in and clear a path for the fighter. You can't see it here because the move planner shows just the flat move range of this, but it can't reach the bomber without me making a path to it. But GG, that was my next high funds game. That was a Mega Tank rush. The Mega Tank rush definitely put on some decent pressure, and it also kind of forced my opponent to go into a Mega Tank rush or like a Mega Tank answer, because I wasn't being very aggressive with my capture phase until the Mega Tanks actually hit the battlefield. So like the tank first didn't find any targets, which let me just kind of build up some forces, and then once the Mega Tanks come out, I can take back all those properties I should have had in the first place. So GG. And you got to see the fun Sasha play where you just constantly keep your opponent's charge bar at 0. Usually it means you have to take 1 power to the face, but afterwards you're totally good to go. Can I move your game to the Friday stream? Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay. Next, we have a very special game. Okay. So this was a live game played between two patrons. And this was Nova X's, who is Nova in the chat. Nova X's very first Advanced Wars by Web game ever. And it was a live game. Which is... it's not easy. You think you should be White Nova? We'll make Airmaster. Hold ice. White Nova. Well, fine. Because it's your first game ever, I'll let you be White Nova. Sorry to people who are colorblind. I will get back to the yellow and blue afterwards. Kindle is very good on this map. There's a Star Flash opener that is very aggressive from the 2-base side down to the mountain cities that utilizes Kindle's day-to-day to really bully the opponent. But this is Nova's very first game, so I'm not expecting to see any textbook openers and that kind of thing. And Airmaster, I believe, is a fairly experienced player. Nova fought for the honor and glory against a very persistent challenger. This was indeed a challenge from Airmaster to Nova. So they're playing with normal live rules, I believe. 5 minutes on the clock, 2-minute increment, I do believe. We have Andy versus Kindle. Okay, so first game ever, still goes for the neutral property, but on the bad side, we do have a day 1 base skip, which is not ideal. So base skips hurt more the earlier they are, because it's not just that you're missing 1 infantry, it's that you're now behind on every single capture on this front by 1 turn. It hits especially hard. It's not just like, oh, you're down 1 infantry. It's no, you're delayed on everything that happens over here. Okay. But we go for the neutral base first, which is very good. Lots of people on their first time playing do not go for neutral bases first. And then the route that Nova takes here, the idea, I believe, is to get down to this city. Maybe this city. But this is, of course, the long route, because it takes 3 turns to make it to this city, but if you just walk over the river, it only takes 2 turns to make it to this city, and then once you finish this city, go for this city. Kind of like what Airmaster did over here. If Airmaster goes for this city rather than this one, definitely go for this city first. It's very contested, often fought over, so if you can own it, that's the way to go. Go7 just doesn't see the genius 5D chess moves that was making. And we got a recon from Airmaster. Okay, so we have a double setup to go for these captures at the same time. He's going to have a hard time against this recon, which is probably the idea. I mean, if this base is a turn behind and this base is going for the contested captures, then a recon makes a lot of sense. However, I would send the recon to the right rather than the left. If the recon's over here, it's already contesting this capture. If it's over here, it's not contesting anything yet. It's going to take another turn to deploy into combat. Okay. Okay, so this infantry doesn't go for the corner property. Usually go for the corner, the properties that are within one turn of your base as soon as possible to get money quicker. But in this case, it's going to go down here, anticipating, I assume, Airmaster going for this property, so it can then be contested in a fight. And then both of these cities can be captured. And then here, you probably should just go for this city right now, and then your next infantry can go for this one. Although a mech, yeah, okay, a mech makes sense. There is a recon on the way. The problem with building the mech is that it's going to stop a tank from being built next turn, and the tank would deal with it better than a mech does. I guess this recon actually does interrupt this capture. Yeah, the recon does reach. It just reaches a different city. I was thinking about this city, but yeah, it does reach here. Your plan was to actually wait for your first normal power to knock Airmaster off of the mountain properties. Oh, well then you should definitely go for the more immediate income, so you can start building vehicles to fight the fights. So we have a triple infantry buy, which sets up Airmaster to build a tank next turn. Oh, going for a very fast comm tower. Okay. Okay, I would prefer not to hit the recon with the infantry. It's kind of doing the recon's job for it. It wants to injure infantry so that they can't get captures. So instead, I'd prefer to go for like this capture. And you can bring this infantry back, or you can put it on the mountain, and you can stay here and keep capturing if you really want to. Bringing it back probably makes most sense, so it can be covered by the mech. In this case, the mech isn't actually covering any of these infantry. And we have a triple infantry of Nova's own, so next turn, the first tank will be possible.
Access granted.
Very aggressive recon. You can see it's kind of doing what it wants to do. It wants to injure all of these infantry so that they aren't very effective at capturing. I don't like this attack on this one in particular because it's on the city, so it's going to heal up. Although that will charge Nova a little bit of money, but not so much that we're not going to have a tank available. Okay, so a lot of these backward captures are going to finish this turn, which is going to be very good for Nova. Decides to finish this comm tower and then goes for an infantry attack. So this recon is getting beat up by the Kindle infantry. I'm not sure why these guys just stood around as well as this mech. The mech should definitely move up so it can help guard these infantry, and you can start capping here if you'd like. Or you could, if you really want, you could try attacking the recon, I guess. Okay. The recon then moves away from all this fighting. Airmaster probably thinking it's at a nice amount of health to be healed up by the anti-power. Okay. So hopefully everything doesn't stand around this turn, because that will be very dangerous now that the tank and a bunch of infantry have entered the fray. Nova's own tank has come down here, so now it's a great time to... Oh. Okay, so here I would prefer attacking the infantry that is capturing rather than the one that's already on the city. Although, okay, if you get the roll, then that's fine. You can kill that infantry off and then interrupt over here. That works too. Okay, so with this mech placement, you need to save it somehow. It only has infantry follow-up. Okay, the mech needed to be either a tile back or over here so you can block for it. Because right now a tank can come in and get the first strike on the mech, which would be absolutely devastating. Well, Airmaster probably shouldn't be sending these infantry in to die, although there's some tanks coming over for the reinforcement, it looks like. The infantry attack. Ooh, I actually managed to kill the infantry on the mountain. I think that was a roll. Recon starts healing up. Okay. So these tanks... Oh, there was a tank built here. These tanks are not quite covering these infantry, so... This tank from Nova can come in here and get a really nice attack, and then this infantry can get cleared off the city. Ah. Okay. So this is just not what you want to go about for this attack, and that's purely because of the range of these tanks. So now that this tank has come in over here, it can get first struck, which hurts a lot, and then this infantry is also coming to range of this tank that's been built. So instead, you'd want to... It's kind of tough in a live game, but you'd want to like click on these guys really quick and be like, okay, they're not covering this tile, and then the tank would come in and make the attack here. We do have the tank chain, which is good. Over this property, which is nice. And then over here, you want to attack from the mountain, and you also want to attack from this property. So probably the play is to bring this infantry back and then have the mech attack from the mountain and this infantry hit from this city to kill off this guy, or at least almost kill him. That's also fine. The infantry can attack from the mountain and have the mech attack from the city. Ah, that's not as great, because now this guy's sitting on a road and rather vulnerable. Although it's not the worst thing. The 5 health infantry can clear this guy, and then they can dive past with recon support. I think they're just going to attack the guy on the mountain. Okay, the mech survives. It has a target next turn to kill off this recon. Okay, usually when you're attacking against Kindle, you don't really... Like, this infantry is not actually capturing this city, so this is not going to be a great trade, because next turn Nova can just finish off this infantry. Unless these tanks get involved over here instead of attacking up here. Whoa. As Airmaster, you definitely attack this hanging infantry, because your own tanks are coming in here to take out the tank defender. Oh, never mind. So you'd be as Airmaster here, you definitely go for this tank first strike, because you have a tank. You have both this tank covering for it, and you have this tank covering for it, giving you a 3 versus 2. With you also getting a first strike, which is just going to be an absolutely dominating position. So a little bit cautious there. It also is fighting really close to the base. This is also Nova's first game ever. So for the very first game ever, it's looking pretty good. Tank finishes off this infantry. It's a nice kill. It's definitely danger zone tank, as there are 3 tanks staring at this. And kind of like with... Hey, we get to kill off the recon with the mech. Very nice. Kind of like with Sonja. The Kindle extra like counterattack damage from the city sounds a lot scarier than it is, because it's only going to matter for the first hit. And then the second hit, the tank dies and doesn't get the counterattack. Although I guess in this case, it does come down to a roll. No, the mech stands tall. So the fight over here has been actually going very decently for Nova. I don't like that attack from Airmaster. Nova has infantry to attack from this city. Absolutely devastating. Oh. Airmaster goes for 2 attacks here. Does get the roll. You can see how the extra counterattack damage doesn't matter a whole bunch there. Okay, lots of infantry pressure over here. Just looking pretty good. And we have a battlecopter. Airmaster, very fittingly for their name, Airmaster got the first air unit for this fight. And then Nova here has a few options. Can attack in here. This infantry, especially with the power active, would die to just a single full hit. Or you can go for the 2-hit there, sure. Okay, so for this turn, it's looking like it's the Urban Blight turn. Because there's a tank here. You have a tank follow up to hit one of these guys, and then this tank can finish off this tank after the Urban Blight. So I would Urban Blight first to get really good attacks from these cities. Like the mech would have to run backwards because a 4 health mech isn't durable enough to withstand the attacks and hold the city. You can also go back for this heal. We do have the Urban Blight that pops off, which will kill off this tank, which is very nice. I'd probably come in here and try and kill off this tank, hit from the city, maybe have an infantry follow-up. This is, I like the block. It's very aggressive join cap. I like the blocking with the infantry to try and stop the other hit from the tanks over here. You could bring this infantry up to complete that block. You can bring this guy over. The Airmaster finds the kill off there. Probably want to just leave that capture alone. Oh, here comes this battlecopter, which Nova X doesn't have an answer for, which is unfortunate. Okay. But infantry-wise, Nova X is actually doing pretty well. He's going to get a few more infantry kills this turn. There's another one. This is one of those cases where you just don't attack with the injured infantry because the full health infantry will get the kill all on its own. It's fine. We come in here, kill this tank. What do I say? If you want to attack from here, that's fine. You can kill off this tank with your tank. Just attack from the forest. It will be better at defensive terrain, but it also stops your opponent from being able to attack from the city against you. Okay, nice attack. Anti-air is coming over here to deal with the copter, I see. Making sure to hold the mountain. The mech actually survived the turn. And we have a triple infantry buy, so lots of money saving up for Nova. The copter does come in, finish off this infantry. Very annoying harassment. Anti-air comes in, gets a nice one shot against the infantry. If the mech get hit, infantry on the mountain. Things are starting to look very scary because Airmaster almost has the Andy Super here. And there's going to be a lot of infantry that can be healed up and then attack into the opposing Nova X infantry with some classic Andy strats. Nothing but tanks over here. So many tanks. This is definitely the time to build like a Neo tank or something to try and win this fight. Okay. And gets the kill. Very nice. It's important to finish off the Andy units when the super's about to happen. And this is not a good attack because it just sets the anti-air to 5 and then Andy super goes off and heals it to 10. Mech goes back. Yeah, that's a very good swing. We have a tank, infantry. Okay, still has lots of money in the bank. So here we're going to see the hyper upgrade, which is going to do a ton of healing. 10k. And then you can see how you really don't want to go for attacks like that against Andy. Very, very scary setups that Andy gets, thanks to the free heals. And then here, all of these infantry that were waiting to be healed up and now storm forward and get some very good damage. And then the same over here with these tanks are going to start getting their revenge. Like so. And now this is looking very scary for Nova X on the left-hand side and the right-hand side and the middle. Down to 18k versus 72k. Not giving up the fight. Try and kill off the infantry. Does get the kill. Go for the capture. Never give up. Does get some infantry pickoffs here, which is good. And we have the mega tank. That's kind of like the Neo tank I was talking about. And a base skip. The mega tank is going to be very hard for like these tanks to kill, but mega tanks are so slow that they're not able to hold down front lines all on their own. You regretted the AA attack on AA as soon as you did it? Yeah. So at this point, you began to pursue a higher form of victory, which is the mega tank buy. At this point, Airmaster is just going to... This is kind of what you do when someone overinvests on one side with a big old tech up, is you just kind of hit everywhere else. Nova starts deleting units to try and leave it towards just the mega tank. A higher form of victory. At this point, Airmaster can answer this. Well, Airmaster can just go for the HQ. Or Airmaster can get some Neo tanks and drain the Neo tanks, medium tanks, or mega tanks, and then drain the ammo of the mega tank. Or can go for some air harassment. There's the base lock over here, so now this HQ cap is almost impossible to stop. Nova could still build like an air unit in theory. Or they could then get body blocked. Double mega tank. Mega tank attacks the copter. Airmaster's turn. No mercy. Complete dive on the HQ. Mega tank getting picked apart by copters. And we have the pipe runner from Nova X, or from Airmaster, and then Nova X gets a high society, almost kills off the infantry. We have the GG missile, and Nova X was eliminated by capture. Note how Airmaster's army flees before you. It's true. Mega tanks are very intimidating. All the other tanks had to run away. GG. I think that was a very good first game. There was some tactical mistakes, and obviously the day one base skip hurt a lot, but there wasn't any base skips after that really. And the neutral base was gone for right away, so those are all very important things when you're learning the game. Yeah, it was a very strong first game, especially for playing live, which is not easy. At one point you were down 5k. I think that was early on. But I think you captured properties immediately, yeah. Here you're down 5k. You do capture 2. Yeah, it hurts a lot. With GG. And next we have this one. Starflash 250 versus AryaFireheart. Max Mirror on Fort Fantasy. Don't turn one base skip. Very true. Okay, this was sent in by Arya. Sure everyone's facing the right ways. Okay. Can always respect the Max Mirror. Starflash regretting this game, apparently. We'll see what people go for here. Often Max Mirrors is kind of just like a tank opening and then lots of tank brawls. But you can do some recon shenanigans like Starflash is going for here. We'll see what the recon ends up getting done. Max recons do hit extra hard, which can delay the economy even more than usual. There was not a tank built over here. There was the money to have a tank respond to this recon. But I think Arya doesn't want to build the tank until the recon commits more, because if the tank gets built here and then the recon just sneaks over into the middle, then there'll be some problems. Which is indeed its plan. So I guess a tank over here would have made sense. I probably would have built a tank. Delaying it for a turn seems dangerous to me. Okay, Starflash. Building just a bunch of infantry. We have this recon ready to harass. It doesn't quite reach that property. Arya decides, you know what, I'll just go back here and then go for this property. I like it. Staying right out of this recon range, and then we have the first tank. Yeah, I think this tank would have been better last turn, but that's okay. It is what it is. Starflash blocking the infantry in with this black boat. And then sends the recon back over here, being very annoying, trying to pressure multiple fronts so that it takes a lot of investment to deal with the one recon. Ooh, and then we have another recon built over here, which is a nice build because it's already threatening this capture, or this property. So if Arya finishes this property capture, Starflash just comes over with the recon, tags it, finishes off with this infantry, and then goes for the capture on the following turn, which is a very scary setup. While also having a much stronger infantry presence in the middle, and actually threatening to go for both comm towers. Well, this black boat is actually stopping the rapid deployment of a tank into the middle, so this is looking pretty good. Okay, this tank just gets into over here, is covering these infantry against harassment. And we have another tank built over here. Okay, does go for this. There is an infantry that can interrupt either of these comm towers, so we'll see how that goes. And Arya very wisely backs off with this infantry so that it doesn't get killed off. Exactly what you want to do. It's very tempting to finish the capture, but if you lose the infantry and then lose the capture in just the following few turns, then it's not worth it. Okay, so Starflash does decide to go for the double comm tower capture. Only one of these can be interrupted. Recon keeps up the harassment. You might be like, how is it harassing? It's because this infantry really wants to step onto this property to start capturing, and now it can't because the recon's in the way. So even without attacking, the recon gets some economic damage in. That's just 1,000 funds less that Arya has. Okay. So it looks like Arya might just give up the center. Like the center for now. That is exactly what we're going to see here. And instead focus on fighting on the sides, and then we might see a front switch into the center to try and threaten these comm towers. Because at this point, Starflash does have double comm tower, but you got to think about what can double comm tower right now, and the answer is nothing. It would just be recons against infantry, and they'll still die to tanks, even with the double comm tower. So yeah, we have this attack. We have this attack. I mean, the infantry on infantry is also something you can do. But now this doesn't end very well for Starflash, because the tank just kills the recon, and then infantry can kill this infantry. The captures can still happen. I'm not a huge fan of this attack. If it had tank backup, then this would be a lot better. Might have been just a little too eager to get that comm tower value in. Over here looking much better. We have the recon plus tank combo. Yeah, there goes the recon. Infantry gets killed off. I would probably prefer to have this infantry going for this capture, but this is fine. Now this infantry is in place to go for this capture, which is pretty scary. Because that's Starflash's city. So having that flip will hurt especially bad. And then yeah, okay. We have the tanks start coming into the middle now. And this is going to work out pretty nicely because Starflash actually did the base skip here. But, which is going to hurt. Because right now, Arya's kind of winning on these sides, thanks to this attack. And that's putting pressure on Starflash to do something about that. Otherwise, Arya's going to start taking these properties. But at the same time, now we have an attack going into the middle that Arya doesn't have to, like, dive forward to protect their own stuff. But Starflash does have to push past the middle ground in order to keep these comm towers that were went for very early. Okay. But if Starflash is able to just get enough tanks over here, for instance, then the double comm tower is going to matter a lot in these fights. Okay. So we're going to have a very fancy attack here. I'm pretty sure the idea is... Oh, never mind. That also works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Top off the recon. Well, I thought the idea was going to be that this recon was going to attack this infantry from this forest, and then it's covered by the double tank, and then this infantry is just in the way, so Arya's own tank can't come in and get the tank strike from the city. But this also works. Or no, it doesn't quite work. Oh, I see. It does stop the tank strike from the city, but because the recon's not here, this infantry can just be killed off, and then we get the double strike here, and there isn't a tank follow-up. I see. Ooh, Arya with the nice reinforcements there sees that Starflash is securing the middle presence, hasn't over-invested with these tanks, and just does a nice front switch over onto the left side here. It was? Wait, you remembered what afterwards? Top off the recon until you realize it doesn't top off? Yeah. You did that thing you were halfway through, you forgot what you were doing? Yeah. Dude, that happens. That happens. Okay, so over here Arya has a really nice attack, just using the infantry to force out these tanks with no coverage to get wiped out. You can see we get this first strike with the tank, But there's no way to keep this safe from just being 2-hit KO'd. Retreats over here. Lots of pressure now. Still has to maintain this presence in the middle. And Starflash would really like to not have to do that. Because these sides are getting absolutely bullied. Keeps attacking this pipe seam. So here we're going to see this tank get taken out. Just pop, pop. Bring another tank up to reinforce. Really, though, what happened is Starflash attacked over here when he didn't need to, and that kind of put him in this. That kind of happened on both of these fronts actually. Starflash attacked, and then got punished. Which is what's happening there is Starflash has double comm tower, and it's like, well, I can make something happen now because I've got this huge firepower increase, and that does put pressure on AryaFireheart, but the units themselves are strong enough to win those fights. The comm tower is only going to matter once enough units are actually brawling together. So another way that Starflash could have continued putting pressure on Arya here is to build a black boat, and that would force Arya to have to actually move against Starflash, and then that will open up more opportunities for conflict to happen and Starflash to really get a lot of benefit out of the double comm tower. Because the black boat is threatening to open up this airport, and that's going to be really scary. Because if Arya also goes for a black boat, Arya's going to be in a very, or really won't want to go into battlecopter versus battlecopter wars against double comm tower max. Oh, okay. We have a max mech. So Arya attacks over here. I'm assuming that's to get the power for another part of the map, because that is not going to be a beneficial attack. Here we go. We break through here. Tank gets this kill. Tank comes in here, hits this infantry. Kill off the infantry. Yeah. Very nice. Oh my. And now this tank is trapped against the pipe seam. Tank gets killed off by the infantry. Looking very good. And then over here, I think it was just an accepted fact that this tank is going to die for this charge. And that's exactly what happens. There's no, I like it. There's no sending bad tanks or good tanks after bad. It's just like, I'm going to go for this attack. It's going to be a negative exchange, but it's going to give me the power I want, the power charge I want to win on the other side of the map. So we have the max force response from Starflash. And this is going to be a lot of firepower. Starflash still has the double comm tower right now. It gets this nice kill on the 8 health tank. We have this nice pick off over here as well. Whoa. Okay, diving forward over here. This is a little risky. I like the recon block here. That's really nice. It stops this tank from just following through here. Okay, for the interruption of the city. There are 2 tanks here to take this guy out though, so I don't know about that. You kill off this tank, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, this is fine. You can't really let your city just get taken. But yeah, this is going to cost this tank its life. Which is very well set up by Arya. This mech is just a little too slow. The recon holds. I was a little worried that the recon might get taken out. Maybe if Arya used a full health infantry instead. Actually, Arya might not care about this recon, but you could sacrifice the 2 health and then use a full health to kill this. Probably guaranteed. But might not have cared really. I killed it there. That's fine. Yeah, Arya just played really, really well. Bam, bam. Infantry finish off the tank. Oh, the tank. Does the 1 health infantry try and do it? It might not even have any damage, I remember. It just stays there. I would move this 1 health infantry back to here because the I guess it's stopping the 1 health tank from running away. That's fair. Kill off that tank. Starflash is always being forced to fight with these tanks next to cities. Goes in here. Another attack over here that you just really don't want to have to do. Right? There's a lot of infantry left over here for Arya. Now this tank is kind of exposed. Oh my gosh. This looks like just a beautiful turn for Arya that we're about to see. That wasn't quite enough to get the charge, so finish it off with another infantry. Look at this, not even worried about going for these comm towers. Like, this is the infantry you'd use to go for this comm tower. Arya's like, I don't even need the comm tower. I'll just get the kills, get the charge I want. Doesn't even use the power here. Goes for this attack first. That, which I think probably was a mistake, but it's okay. Still gets that kill, so maybe like this tank would be a little bit more healthy. That's just really good. Finishes off these not the capture, this infantry fight. Tank comes over here for this first strike. I don't know about that. Hitting the mech is really good though. Now Starflash is only down to 14 units. And on the right hand side it's nothing but injured tanks, 1 infantry, and the tank that was built. That's pretty much GG. Oh, the mech doesn't get the kill. Does get this tank kill. Tank comes through, takes out the 8 health infantry. Or 8 health tank. Goes after the poor black boat that did nothing wrong. Yeah, at this point, the end of Starflash's turn, behind in unit value, behind in unit count. And now there's no way to stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's no way to stop the comm tower from going down. And Arya doesn't dive in here to get like a tank first strike. Just very calmly collects the tanks together, falls back over here, brings the tank up. Now these are covering each other very nicely. It's like, I don't think Starflash can actually do anything here to get something done. This is just a desperation attack. Oh, this pipe seam is gone. This tank broke it. That's still just a desperation attack. These tanks are just sitting ducks to be picked off by Arya, and it's only going to delay the comm tower by 1 turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, Arya! Oh my gosh! What? Doesn't even keep the capture going? It's all a bait. But yeah, these guys are just absolutely toast. Immense amount of tank pressure up here. I was about to say that the one thing that Arya is missing over here now is infantry to actually go for these cities. What do we see? Infantry. I'm surprised this 4 health tank just kind of falls back to here. I guess it doesn't have a better option. It doesn't want to get killed off by this tank. Otherwise, it would go for this city for repairs. So much money or value lead. Oh my gosh, you hate to see it. Oh god. the triple unit sacrifice. That's just Starflash doing a GG there. This is the then resigns. I thought it was gonna be a delete into let Starflash overextend and then just constant punish. You couldn't delete it because it was weighted? Didn't you attack with it? Oh, I see. You weighted it instead of deleting. Oh no. Oh, I see. GG. You had an idea of this game that the comm towers did not matter and tried to make that work? Well, you definitely made it work. GG. Okay. This one. It's our last new submitter. Fionordequester. These colors are pretty distinct. I think I won't mess with anything here as much as I can. And I'll stop the order from being static so we can always tell who's active. Playing Hachi. Oh my gosh, all the HQs are just together in the middle with neutral bases next to them? What is this madness? So you have Hachi and then Rev at War. I think it's Kanbei in the bottom left. So we have Hachi and Kanbei against Gulliver playing as Colin in the bottom right. And Fionordequester playing as Kanbei in the top right. This is indeed a tier 0 team match. And we even have the people facing the correct way against each other. Very nice. Rushing these bases seems very good, considering their bases in range of all the HQs. Whoa. Rev at War is going for this base right away. Okay, Fionordequester is not going for this base. Because otherwise this infantry would be over here. Be closer. Hachi is also not going for this base, it looks like. Or might be going here and then here and then here. Let's see if Colin should step to this forest and go for this base right away. It's such, oh no. Okay, went for the more economy instead, but this is such a strong base. Rev at War going for this one right away. Okay, anything to say about the crazy map? The bases are these neutral bases are very aggressive. There's only one comm tower per team, it looks like. And they're both very contested comm towers. The airports are nice and isolated together on the sides of the map. And it looks like whoever owns the center is just going to win the game because all of the HQs are there. Which is why I would highly prioritize going for like this base, because you're immediately going to be having a presence in the center. Hachi is going to want to... Hachi will eventually be able to just win this game all on his lonesome if he's let to. We have Revit War going for this base right away, which is very good. This is not high funds, so it's going to be a while before Kanbei starts really getting non-infantry units up and running. Where both Hachi and Colin can be a little bit more flexible in what they build. Hachi decides to finish the lab rather than go down to this neutral base or this contested comm tower. Almost has the tank in time to actually try and contest this neutral base, which would be really good. We do have a recon heading out to the middle very quickly for Gulliver. Yeah, lots of infantry from Kanbei going for a very fast airport, it looks like. We have base skip for a tank. It is a Kanbei tank, though, which is going to be very difficult to deal with, especially because it's not like there's going to be a lot of comm towers to go around. Hachi is getting double tank to try and match here. Oh my gosh, Gulliver still isn't going for this. This neutral base is so strong. Both of these players are sleeping on the presence of this neutral base. It's more than one full turn closer to where the fighting is going to happen. I do not think this is a good map. Shadower, I'll try to remember that your game is not for today. Okay. Recon moving out towards the center. We have another tank built. These bases are way too strong for this to be a good map. But that is okay, because it's not being... The game's not being played at like a brutal level, so the map will be just fine. Oh my gosh. Fionordequester is actually in position to potentially interrupt this base capture from Hachi. This tank doesn't actually cover this capture, but it covers the sides, so it should be fine. Look at that, only 7 damage, or 3 damage. Okay. So this infantry just needs to stay here or can move forward if it wants. It's going to attack here. Actually, Fionordequester always has the route to go down here to interrupt this base, which would be really annoying. Now Colin has the early presence in the middle, going for the lab caps. Recon wishes it could start capturing the HQ. Lots of tanks coming out here. Usually Colin, from what I've seen, likes to kind of have a lot of infantry and then artillery. But that might be in more FFA-like games. Okay. So this presence seems strong enough that this neutral base is not necessarily going to actually go to Gulliver. And you can see, look how strong it is to build a tank here. Okay, nice interrupt here. Kanbei tank comes forward. Comm tower got interrupted. Forward base producing tanks. Looks like both of these players might not even get their forward base, which is so unfortunate. This map would play much better if the map maker adjusted it to be mixed player instead of allied front. I could see that. I think you still have to do something about those neutral bases. The plan you made with Gulliver was to be extremely aggressive and try to out Hachi away early, while Gulliver would get all the properties. That way we play both of our strengths. Yeah, trying to bully Hachi early, I think, is definitely a good idea. I mean, if Hachi makes it to the late game with a stable economy, then it's going to be pretty GG. We'll see. Right now, Hachi's doing just fine when it comes to econ. But not getting, like, shutting down this neutral base will be very helpful. Okay, Colin trying to get this base now. Sending everything to cover it. Good. I don't think it's interruptible. There we go. Now we have the artillery. Colin has 9k banked up. Both Colin and Hachi are the kind of COs that can just run away with the game. If they're let to. This recon is going to get a nice interrupt over here. Okay, this base falling to Colin is very good. Whoa. Kanbei going for a very aggressive HQ cap. Stop the base as well, which is really good. You can see how strong these Kanbei tanks are. They're just constantly being built. I mean, this is not the kind of situation you want to be in against Kanbei. Luckily for Hachi here, the ally can start coming up here to kind of save the day. That's the exchange when you're attacking from 3 stars against a Kanbei tank on the road. 7-6. At least it's positive. Yeah, I can see that's a really scary situation now. Kanbei defense is very strong on HQs. Okay, Hachi looks like they might just die soon. Where Colin now has this neutral base. Isn't able to do a single damage to that infantry. There we go. And I imagine a recon follow-up as well. There we go. Looking good. We got the medium tank coming out for Gulliver. And as Colin, you're not too sad when you're having your units get beat up and giving you a lot of charge so that you can get your extra money. Ideally by having some saved up and then you multiply it. Rev at War also saving up money, actually has 8k in the bank. We have just 6 more capture points to get here, which I think is preventable. I think is stoppable for Hachi here, because you can sacrifice the 5 health infantry and then follow up with a tank strike. Because this wasn't joined. See, it gets knocked down to 8. Knocked down to 5. And there we go. Saved for 1 more turn. Desperately trying to stop this HQ cap. It's going to be really difficult next turn, though, because this can be joined up to 10. And there'll only be 1 more capture point left, while these tanks will also get to come in here and attack and block and all that. Yeah, the rush, the 8k income rush is doing wonders. Colin needs to just stop these tanks from coming up here to save Hachi. Doesn't look like that's gonna quite happen though. So Rev at War can come up here and kill this tank, which would be a huge problem, because it's these 2 tanks could kill this tank. At least I'm pretty sure that can happen for Kanbei versus Kanbei. And then this infantry can get a hit in here to stop the HQ cap. But instead, decides to attack over here. Does not come to the rescue of their ally. Builds a mech, double infantry, 13k in the bank. Well, now this capture is very scary. As we can see, it only needs one more. And got the tank that can come in here. A really good swing. Lots of follow through. Might not even move this tank. Just to keep it there as a blocker. And now there's no way for Hachi to stop this. Resigns. Which will prevent all of these properties immediately falling into the hands of Fionordequester. If you don't know, when you're in a team game and someone captures your HQ, they get all of the properties you have. But if you resign before that happens, then your HQ turns into a city, and they just get that. Okay, does get the interrupt here. Did cost us the 2 health tank. We have the gold rush before any buys. Very nice. Up to 26k. And then builds a Neo tank in that tank. How could you not help? Yeah, it didn't seem like they were communicating much there. It was mostly just 2 1v1s that were happening. Okay, so Kanbei starts making some progress here against Colin, but there are some big guns on the way, and there's also an entire other player that's about to enter into this fight. We have the medium tank for Kanbei, and we have lots of bases to go for. Kanbei must have bases indeed. And yeah, at this point, it's going to be GG very quickly. Gulliver Neo tank comes in, covering for the artillery and rocket. Medium tank comes in. Copter comes in. There's a base right here to build another medium tank from. I don't know why the Neo tanks are being built back here. I guess, yeah, just a Neo tank could be built. Build it right on the front lines, and you'll be very happy. Don't you dare base skip. Don't base skip on the front lines. Fine. I mean, it's still going to win, but you can see the big difference is if you build a Neo tank back here, it can't attack anything. If you build a Neo tank here, it can fight from the get-go. Okay. Ref at War falling back into this bottom left corner. Comm tower is going to be falling. He gets taken out. Tanks start moving down. There is a problem with, yeah, I was about to say, there's a problem with falling back towards this bottom left corner. That's the HQ is actually right here. So Fionordequester is starting to eye this HQ. And if you don't know, if Kanbei uses his super and steps on your HQ, he has 100% defense, and you actually can't hurt him. Hey! Neo tank built on the front lines. You'll love to see it. So at this point, Fionordequester can start being very aggressive to try and get the super. Rev at War goes for just the normal power here. Get some good attacks. It's a lot weaker than the super for Kanbei, but desperate times call for desperate measures. You can take attacks up here. 3 attacks. No, it doesn't, just stands in the way. Okay. Move another mech. Comm tower gets captured. See everything get brought over here. Join the tanks together. I assume we're going to see the HQ start being captured, like so. And just other infantry coming over to constantly join cap this. Very scary. Artillery built from the forward base. This is looking like it's going to be GG very soon. Gulliver has plenty of forces to attack in here with. Will help deal with any of the units trying to save this HQ. And we have a gold rush. Very nice. 25k. We have the bomber built. Medium tank knocks us down to 6, so that means that Next turn, this captures the joint cap. Even just a morale boost will do it. And that'll be game over. Have another medium tank built. Might be able to find a way. Probably want to join cap with this one so you can finish this capture, but it's totally fine. They do have the morale boost. And yeah, that's completely surrounded. There's no way that Rev at War can save this. Gulliver makes sure to attack in here, even gets the hit on this medium tank. And another Gold Rush. Colin be popping off. Here comes the Bombers. Very GG with the morale boost right before the game ends. Morale boost into Resign. It's how it goes. GG, the aggression. The aggression and then just going straight for those vulnerable HQs worked out very well. That's true. That's true. A black bomb and global damage can injure Kanbei on the HQ. Rev at War brave for fighting on. Yeah. Really should have helped his friend. But that's okay. Okay, next we have SubbieI. SubbieI versus Adder. Do this one on Celeste. On Celeste. GG to all. Mighty Kanbei indeed, yeah. Fortune teller, huh? Yeah, whenever you see these question mark names, it's because the username is in a language with different symbols than is supported by the program. So it just defaults to making their name question marks. No puny Hachi can withstand Kanbei's base thirst. Oh, they're at 1200. Nice, nice. Okay, so this is Celeste. It's usually characterized by some really good artillery openings and some pressure with the airport. The artillery can kind of control this property and these properties in the middle, and then can use these mountains very effectively to wall and put a lot of pressure on the opponent. We also tend to see a lot of tech ups. This is also a map where it's not uncommon to see stealths being used, as these airports are kind of vulnerable to being shut down by an anti-air in just 2 turns and potentially captured. And if you don't have any airports, you can't build fighters, and then stealths are an unanswerable unit other than like trying to get them to run out of fuel. So there's artillery openings here, there's some recon aggression you can do, and there's also the classical tank openings, of course. The comm towers look kind of contested, but they're very safe. We do see an artillery on the weak side built by Fortune Teller here. And you can see after just 1 turn, the artillery gets positioned nicely behind this mountain. It can cover this city or deny it forever. Okay, we have the tank from SubbieI on the 1 base side. So usually This tank is in response to this recon. Usually you want to try and force the vehicle fight from your 2 base side against their 1 base side to give your own 1 base side some more time to build infantry before it has to start cranking out vehicles. But in response to the recon, it makes sense. That's one of the nice things about recons, is that they can very affordably force vehicles. Ooh, okay, so SubbieI goes for the interrupt here. This is going to be a very expensive interrupt. It does delay this capture by one turn so far, but it is also going to get shot by an artillery for it. And then we have a very, very early prophylactic anti-air here. Oh. They decided to just kill off that infantry rather than continuing the capture. If they continue the capture, it's threatening to just finish next turn, and it's going to force another infantry, probably this one, to walk forward and kill it off, which will get another value shot from the artillery. I'm not sure what's going on with this recon attack. It's attacking the infantry on the city, which is going to force SubbieI down in income or in money due to repairs, but it's going to lose this recon for it because the tank can just strike from the city. And it's not like this is an infantry you expect is going to go for more captures. Although maybe it was going to go over here. I don't know. So yeah, it just falls back, and then there goes the recon. Not what you want to have to do. And we still don't have an artillery over here from SubbieI, especially playing as Jake and attacking down here with all these mountains. The artillery can be really nice. That's okay. This tank has got a nice central presence. Whoa. Okay, so the artillery decides to give up protecting this capture, which it only really has to do for one more turn. And what's going on here is that Fortune Teller thinks that SubbieI is faking this comm tower capture and is going to go for this city with this infantry next turn. So to cover against that, the artillery comes over here to block it. But now there isn't an artillery covering this. It becomes much easier to interrupt. SubbieI also gets this nice property here. We might see a battlecopter come out from SubbieI. We have the money to do so. There we go. Artillery, double tank instead. Okay. An attack here with the infantry. This is very good. What's going on here is the double base side is getting infantry fights against the 1 base side. And the 1 base side cannot sustain the same kind of infantry count that the double base side can. So oftentimes trades can be very good. Although you don't want to just outright lose infantry, of course. But in this case, it was a really nice trade because it delays both of these properties, and SubbieI lost an infantry for it, but then Fortune Teller also loses an infantry because this joint cap.